Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Black Women Amplified, the podcast. Your host, Monica Wisdom Tyson, brings you downloadable conversations that matter to women around the globe. We discuss all things Black girl magic, amplify our voices, and transform our challenges into triumphs. Monica calls on her league of extraordinary women to push our boundaries, share their expertise, and stories of personal transformation. Welcome your host of Black Women Amplified, Monica Wisdom Tyson.
Hello, Black Women Amplified family. This is your girl, Monica Wisdom, and I am so excited that you're here with us today. I hope that wherever you are having an amazing day. Today, we're having a special conversation with a woman I can't wait for you to meet. But before we get to her introduction, I want to remind you to visit blackwomenamplified.com, which is, our internet home. And that's where you can connect to us on our email list, as well as subscribe to us on YouTube, check out our blog, and visit our power partners. Thank you for your reviews, your likes, and your comments. It means the world to me that you're listening from wherever you are across the world. Today's guest is very special, and I'm so excited to introduce you to her. Rhonda Ross is a global thought leader, actor, singer, and songwriter. She connects her music to the hearts of humanity, reminding us of our innate power. Though she is the daughter of music royalty, she fully understands the inner strength required to chart her own path. Her gifts as an actor and songwriter have led her to become an Emmy-nominated actor and a Grammy-nominated songwriter. Like her parents, Diana Ross and Gordy, Rhonda works to secure her legacy through empowering music, speaking engagements, and retreats, helping thousands of people recalibrate their thoughts and live their best lives. Rhonda brilliantly combines her music and her life experiences in her latest project, This Makes Me Feel Like Beep, an evening of music and the magic of mindset. Rhonda joins us from New York City as she prepares for the debut of her new work. So please, Black Women Amplified family, give her a very warm welcome as she joins us to share her life, her perspective, her brilliance, and the genius that is Rhonda Ross. Rhonda, thank you for joining the Black Women Amplified podcast. I am so excited to have you on the show. It is a true honor to have one of America's princesses with us. At least that's how I see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Monica. I'm so happy to be here. I can't wait for our conversation.
Yes, I am truly, truly excited. I'm truly excited that we were connected. You are an actress, a singer, a speaker, and so much more. How do you define your work?
That's a good question. I define my work as tuning the inner voice, tuning my inner voice, and I show people how to tune their own inner voice. And I do that through a myriad of ways, through courses and workshops and one-on-one, but I also do that through concerts and the music that I write and I perform. And before you ask, I will say, tuning your inner voice, what I mean by that is managing our thoughts. I call it thought power. Oh gosh, managing our thoughts. And so what I know is that our feelings, our moods are a reflection of our thoughts. We think that our moods come from what's physically happening in our lives, physically happening around us, but they really come from our thoughts. And if we can manage our thoughts and shift them, we can then shift our moods from feeling bad to feeling better. So that is the work that I feel I was put on this planet to do.
Wow, what an awesome assignment that you have been given on Earth. And your music has transformed over time. I was listening as I took a deep dive into Rhonda World. I came across this beautiful jazz album that you put out that you collaborated with your husband.
Mm-hmm.
How did you transition from the jazzy sound to what you're doing now? Or is there a difference?
Yeah, thank you for that question. There is a difference, and the difference mostly comes from this mandate that I feel that I have on my life, this desire to share what I was just saying, to share the power that we each have inside of ourselves. Because I wanted to share that, well, let me just say, I started my life, my professional artistic life, as just an interpreter of song, singing other people's compositions, being, like you mentioned, the jazz vocalist, where I was singing standards often and other people's compositions. And as I matured in this idea of, wait a second, I have something I want to say. I have something I want to share with people. I've been learning something about life and my power to feel better. And I want to share that with people. I don't just want to sing a song that was written in 1950. I have something to say. And I was fortunate enough to meet my husband, Rodney Kendrick, who you referenced, and he was the musical director for an incredible poet activist named Abby Lincoln.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, and both of them said to me, you have something to say and you can write your songs and say what you need to say. So on that record that you're referring to, those are actually my originals. But around that time, I was singing a lot of standards and moving into the space of original songs. And those original songs were referencing my power, my power, my power. And you in the audience, your power, your power, your power. Abby Lincoln said to me once, a song is like a prayer. It comes from the deepest part of you and you repeat it, repeat it, repeat it over and over again. And you want to make sure, like any mantra, you want to make sure that you are saying what you want in your life. And we have so many heroes, musical heroes like Billie Holiday, Bessie Smith, who would sing about things that they didn't want in their life, right? You know, my man don't love me, treat me oh so mean, right? And so Abby said that she refused to sing those lyrics. And I learned that from her in those years, in those formative years. I said, gosh, I want to write about my power. I want to write about what's going right and how I can shift it from wrong to right. And I want to write about that. So that's what I started to do. So yes, there is a difference. My music has grown and matured into that space. And that's really what I write about now. It doesn't mean that every song is happy-go-lucky, not at all, because life has challenges. But it does mean that I use the song to take me from feeling like beep, feeling, sad, angry, scared, ashamed. I use the song to take me from those feelings to feeling better, empowered, at peace, in love, safe, and balanced.
That's beautiful. Before we get deeper into your work, I want to just put on your record industry hat for a second.
Yes.
Because it feels like the music industry right now is going through an identity crisis. And you being the daughter of two legends in the American fabric, Diana Ross and Berry Gordy, as well as a village of people who are deep in the music and entertainment industry, you have a very unique vantage point. And from your vantage point, what is your perspective of the music industry now, and how can we move back to being a fair and equitable industry for artists?
Well, that's a big question. Let me put on my industry hat and say, well, first of all, the industry has changed in that it's corporate run. There's just not as much in the actual industry, the actual record industry. There's less space for uniqueness, individuality, artistry, creativity, because it's all about what sells, right? It's a capitalist situation. It's all about likes and how many eyeballs do you have on your social media and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. That said, at the same time, because of the increase and the revolution of and the equalization of tech, there's so many things that an artist, if you are an artist, if you want to pursue artistry and creativity, that you can do on your own without the need of the industry. You don't need a big recording studio. You don't need distribution the way that you did 20, 30 years ago. So a lot of things can be put in we, the artist's hands. I'm an independent artist. I produce not only do I write all of my music, but I produce my records. I own my copyright. I own my publishing. I make what I want to make. I have no boss. I have no one who tells me you got to sing that song or you don't sing that song or don't mention that on the stage or any of those kinds of things. I get to do it myself. Now, does that mean that I am at the Billboard Awards right now? Okay, so I might not have the same publicity quite or the same engine machine behind me, but I have the ability to do what I want to do. So in many ways, we've lost some of that, uniqueness and creativity and that, but in other ways, we have gained it. So part of what I do in my life is I'm always looking for what is working for me. It is so easy to look around and we can all look at the same facts and one person can talk about why it is a problem. And I try to look at those same facts and say, okay, but what about this is working for me? What about this is actually empowering to me? And again, it has everything to do with our thoughts. I can think about the industry in one way or think about the industry in another way. So I choose to focus on the ways in which I am free and independent and the ways in which tech has allowed things to become more accessible to me and equitable in that way.
Amazing. What advice do you have for young people coming into this music game? Because you got to see when we were the 80s and the 90s when music was just fun and alive.
Are you calling me old?
No, seasoned and wise.
Yeah.
But just like you, music was fun and it was not about being popular. It was about people putting their art out.
Yeah.
And there are young artists who want to enter the game, but it's a popularity contest, like you said. So for those artists out there who are true to themselves, what advice do you have for them as they navigate through this industry?
Yeah, my advice is to remain true to yourself. Know that you have something to offer the world. It is uniquely yours, and stay true to that. And manage your thoughts around that. You don't, just because people tell you or the world tells you that you have to be one way or the other, that you don't have to believe that. You don't have to follow that. I'm so glad you brought this up because that has been my journey in so many ways, not just as an artist, as a human, in so many ways, all of my life, because of the parents I was born to. I have these larger than life parents, as you mentioned, with incredible amounts of light coming off of them. Iconic, legendary, just incredible people, as well as incredible brands, let's call them. And because of that, people / the world has told me from a very little girl, you have to be this, or you have to be that, or you can't be this, or you can't be that, or nothing you have will ever compare to what they have. Nothing you do will ever compare to what they've done. And so you should be content with just dissolving into their light and living in their shadow. So for my whole life, I have fought that. And what gave me the muscle to fight that is that despite how huge their careers and their accomplishments are, my parents, they taught me and the rest of their children that I didn't have to believe that. I didn't have to buy it. I did not have to go in a corner and be content just being the daughter of and not following my own dreams, my own passions, my own skills and talents and all of that. I didn't have to do that. I had something, as each of us humans do, that I was brought to this planet to do and to offer and to share. And I needed to be true to that. I needed to trust that. I needed to hold fast to that and continue pursuing it. And I did. And I still do, because even to this day, I get, oh gosh, many comments. I mean, really daily, many comments that either subtly or not so subtly try to, quote unquote, put me in my place, right? Try to let me know that nothing I do is going to compare to what my parents have done. And so I say to that young artist, whatever they are moving against, whether it be that other people in their family have already had success, or friends or whatever, or whether it be that their family doesn't believe that they should be pursuing this, or whether it be the music industry is trying to push them one way or the other that doesn't feel aligned with their spirit. Whatever it is, I say, follow your heart and know that you are worthy, and that if spirit has put in your heart to share something specific, then that is your work and that is what you should be doing. And you do not have to believe the words that anyone says any differently. But here's the deal. And I know I talk a lot, Monica, I'm almost done. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. You get to believe what you want to believe. So no one can actually force that on you. That is yours. And so if you choose to believe that you need to change yourself, then that's what you've chosen. But you don't have to. You can believe that you are worthy. And I have spent my life believing that I am worthy.
That's a great point that you just said, is that people have to realize there's always a choice. No matter how much people push you into the corner, no matter how much society says that you are this or you are that, you always have a choice. So that's a beautiful perspective. And you have been honest and open about your feelings of self-worth, insecurity, low self-esteem, and depression. How has that manifested in your life? Because looking from the outside, we would think, oh, how could she have a problem? She's an American princess. But you're human. Like you said, I'm a human. How have those feelings shown up in your life? And then how have you unraveled that to find the confidence that you have now?
Yeah, thank you. Mostly it's shown up in this idea that my worth is somehow only there because I'm, quote unquote, a princess, that is the worth. It reminds me of a person, a woman who has a lot of physical beauty. And the world says, oh, you're worthy because you have this physical beauty. And she says, okay, thank you, fine. But I have all these other things too, right? I have all these other things. I'm intelligent, I'm strong, I'm a good friend, I'm a good mother, I'm a good, all these other things. And the world says, yeah, but nothing compares. So that's sort of what I have been dealing with, where I have all of these things and interests and ideas and all of the things and relationships and all of the things. And yet the world still will say, oh, but you're a princess. Oh, but you look at your parents. Oh, but whatever. Or I'll be a songwriter, or I'll be an actor, or whatever it is. And the world says, yeah, that's all fine and good. But what we really want to know is your relationship with your parents, or we really want to know if your parent will be coming to your performance, or what we really want to know is, can we talk to your parents about whatever, like they bypass. So it feels as if who I am as a human gets lost in the sauce, right? So that is something that I have juggled and dealt with my whole life. And the way that I handled it and the way I continue to handle it is really what we were just talking about it, a young person coming into the business. What I do is I stay true to who I am. I stay true to that. I stay present to that. I stay balanced in that. I know who I am. I've always had a sense of who I am, the relationships that I build in my life, the relationship with my husband, with my son, with my siblings, with my friends. It's all authentic and real. And I have built who I am based on what we talked about earlier, my thoughts about who I am. And so what happened was about 20 years ago, I was dealing with, I'm using the term feeling like beep, because I have a show coming up with that title, but we'll talk about that in a moment. But I was feeling bad for many reasons, all of which felt out of my control, all of which felt like the world was doing them to me, all of which made me feel like helpless and like I had no ability to change anything. And I started reading about the power of thought and how we think that it's these outside forces that are making us feel a certain way, making us feel bad, unworthy, depressed, whatever it is. And yet it is not the outside forces, it's our thoughts about the outside forces. But we are the thinker of our thoughts. So we have the ability to shift those thoughts. And once I started to get a taste of that, and that was about 20 years ago, I was just blown away by how I could take the reins of my happiness, of my feelings, of my moods into my own hands. And I wasn't a victim to what anybody thought, what anybody said, what anybody did around me. Every ability to feel better came from me. So over the last 20 years, I have continued to cobble together processes and routines and ways, methods that can take me from feeling bad to feeling better, no matter what is going on in my life. And like I said, I have a way to handle it now, but the outside world hasn't changed. That has not changed.
No, ma'am.
What has changed is my inner voice. That's what's changed.
Yes, life is always lifing. It's
Life
how we
is always
respond
life.
to life is where we have our power. And one word that is missing from all of the material I was sent is thought leader. So could you add that in? Could you have those people added in?
I appreciate that. Okay. We'll add it in.
And your work is beautiful. I put you in the mind of Angelica Jo, Diane Reeves.
Thank you.
Miriam Makeba.
Thank you.
Nina Simone, the women who took their art to uplift people.
Yes.
And to let the world see what it is, a mirror to the world.
Thank you.
And I think that is a beautiful perspective to have when you're putting out your music, because you're doing it from your soul. You're doing it from a place of not only wanting to help other people, but healing yourself. So how has your music, because I often believe that people teach what they need.
Yes.
How has your music healed you?
Yes, I believe people teach what they need to learn. And in my case, I write songs about what I need to hear. And yes, my songs, I have one song, Ain't Nobody's Business. It's called Ain't Nobody's Job to Make You Happy. Ain't nobody's job to see you through. Ain't nobody born to give you sunshine that lights inside of you. Ain't nobody gonna seek your freedom. Your heart will lead you through. You're the one to choose how you're feeling. Ain't nobody's business if you do. And I wrote that song and specifically those lyrics on a day that I was having a self-pity party. I was upset and specifically about the industry, speaking of the industry, and feeling invisibilized by the industry and not feeling like I was being seen for the work that I'm trying to put out there. And I'm feeling all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard in my spirit, ain't nobody's job to make you happy, Rhonda Ross.
I had that conversation too.
I bet. Yeah. So yeah, you better go figure out how to do it, because ain't nobody out here trying to do that for you. Right. And so, yeah, I write the songs that remind me, as I mentioned, remind me of my power and remind me of my value and of my worth. And when I share those songs, whether they be recorded or live in a performance, the hope is that the audience will find their own power, their own value in the midst. So yeah, that's what I do. That's it. You're 100% right. I write to cool me out. Yeah.
Now, a lot of your work is about the internal dialogue. Talk to us about that conversation within our head and how it shapes the decisions we make in life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I believe it's everything. I call it the inner voice, and I talk about tuning the inner voice. That's, self-talk. What we say to ourselves on the regular, whether we are even conscious of what we are saying to ourselves, it is everything. It is the difference between, depression and feeling good. It's the difference between walking around furious. It's the difference between being terrorized within yourself and frightened and ashamed and all of the things. And when I do my workshops, as well as my concerts, my concerts are very interactive, where we talk about what are the things that make us all feel like beep, both myself and the audience. But in my workshops specifically, we get to the bottom of what the thoughts are. What are the thoughts? And so often we are not even aware that we're thinking these self-sabotaging thoughts, this negative self-talk. We don't even realize how often we do it. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you this, just like if you look into a mirror and you smile, you'll see a reflection that's smiling. If you look into a mirror and you frown, you'll see a reflection that's frowning. Our feelings are a reflection of our thoughts. And it's as simple as that. It is so much more simple than we give it credit for. And we don't have to go out and beat up our neighbor or our spouse or our kid and say, act right so I can feel better. Mm-hmm. We can change our thoughts, shift our thoughts, and our feelings will reflect those thoughts and we can feel better. And again, I call that tuning our inner voice. But yes, that is the work. To me, that is all of the work. And it's what I teach in my workshops, and it's what I do on the stage with the audience. So people come into my show and they leave feeling better, not because they heard a pretty song, but because they see the process and they can do the process for themselves. So it's like a musical workshop.
That's beautiful. Speaking of the workshop that you have created, the musical workshop that you have created, this makes me feel like beep, an evening of music and magic and the magic of mindset.
That's right.
Say that again because I want people to.
Oh, no, you said it great. This makes me feel like beep, an evening of music and the magic of mindset. And we are going to be talking about it all. What makes me feel like beep? What makes you feel like beep? And how we each have the power inside of us to shift it and to go from feeling bad to feeling better. And so, yes, it's a powerful night. I'm very excited for it. This particular iteration is brand new, and I'm debuting it in June. I'm debuting it in New York at a venue called Chelsea Table and Stage in Manhattan. There are 3 shows there. And then we have 1 show in Philadelphia at the City Winery in Philadelphia. But there will be many other shows put on the tour and as a part of this series. So I'm asking people to go to rhondaross.net, enter their email address, and they will know about all of the shows, as well as the potential to live stream the shows in the event you are not near one of the venues. But yes, they're going to be very powerful nights.
What has been the process of putting a show like this together where you're connecting all the dots of your work?
Yeah, thank you, Monica. I am connecting all of the dots of my work and all of the dots of my life. And if you want to really know the truth, it has been terrifying. I'm not kidding you. I feel terrified. And one of the reasons is because of how we started this show. This idea of people seeing me as a princess with no problems, no reason to ever feel like beep, no challenges, no whatever. The truth is, it's not that I live without those problems. I don't tend to share my process from feeling bad to feeling better. I do the process. I've always had to do the process. I mean, shoot, daily. Like this is not... It's not a past thing. This is something I do every day, but I don't tend to share it. I tend to retreat, go do my work, feel better, and then come back on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is. And so this is new. This show will be lifting the veil off of my process and what has the things that have put me in a position to need the process. And it feels very vulnerable, to be completely honest with you. But I believe as an artist, it's important to go into those spaces and be transparent, not just as an artist, as a human, to be transparent and to say, look, this is what I'm challenged by, because probably you are challenged by something similar. And if we can learn from each other and share this journey and walk with each other through it, I think it's really powerful. So working on this has been something, but
I'm sure there's been lots of tears and lots of laughter.
Even how we got to the title, I was talking to my director of operations, Mel. I was talking with her because she is witness now to the myriad of emails, et cetera, that I get that pretty much say, we're not interested in you, but can we get to your sister? Can we get to your brother? Can we get to your mother? Can we get to, all of that? And I'm so used to it now. But something came up and I was ranting. And I said, this just makes me feel like crap. It just angers me. And it makes me feel like crap. And she said, yeah, that's what you should call the show. And I was like, wait, what? She said, yeah, that's what you should call the show. This makes me feel like beep. That's what you should do. And so we looked at that for a while. And I said, I really think that it's the perfect title because it does pull together all the things, who I am, what my journey has been, what I feel that I have learned and built that I can share with other people. And of course, my thought power, understanding and tuning my inner voice and all of that, and my songwriting and all of that. So it brings it all together.
So you're taking this to Broadway?
I'm taking it wherever they'll have me, Monica. I travel the world. I've been traveling the world, performing and everything for years. But again, not this show, not quite as vulnerable or as transparent as this show. And I'm really looking forward to taking this show wherever they will have me, honestly. Yeah.
I think every artist has that watershed moment where they're this is me. I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of putting on a hat for you all. I'm tired of putting on this face for you all.
Yes.
And I just want, this is me, like it or not. I think writers have that, all storytellers have that moment. And I understand it because we all have people in our family that are like magic. And people want, hey, are they going to stop by? So that's an off
Monica, I'm
conversation,
so glad but it's not off topic at all. I'm so glad you mentioned that because I know that to be true. You do not need to have Diana Ross and Berry Gordy as your parents to feel invisibilized by something in your life. And that's why I mentioned a woman who has a beautiful face or a big bosom or whatever the thing is, right? You don't have to, there are so many ways in which we walk the world, we walk this earth, and other people are telling us that someone else in our life is more important than we are, or something else in our life. It could be your spouse. It could be your job title. It could be any of the things. And we all are dealing, many of us, maybe not all, but many of us are dealing with this feeling of, but wait, what about me?
Right.
Now, what about what I have to share? What about my perspective? You don't need to have Diana Ross and Berry Gordy as parents to know what that feels like. But in my case, because that is my situation is so obvious, I think my story of how I transcended that is important to share. And yes, that is exactly what I'm sharing because yes, so many of us in so many ways.
And when I was thinking about this interview, this conversation, I should say, with you, I was thinking about people like Bernice King and Harry Belafonte's kids and Malcolm X's daughters. And all of because it's not just that your parents are singers. Your dad specifically innovated a whole genre of music, which is a big deal. So as a singer, I can imagine that walks in the room before you do.
Yes.
And these artificial expectations, these premeditated expectations are already there before you sit down in a meeting.
Yes.
And so that has to be a heavy burden to carry and a lot to unravel. And it's beautiful that you've created a show that shows us your unraveling process.
Yes.
because we all have things to unravel. You know, like you said, we don't have to be a family member of this caliber. We all have people in our family, and we all have places where we're trying to find ourselves. So I think this is a beautiful experience that you're sharing, and I'm so happy that you are. And I don't know if this is the time period in our lives as Gen X kids where everybody's shedding all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But I just want to say thank you for doing that. And here's the thing. What is the core element that you're bringing to that stage in New York?
Before I even answer that, I'm almost in tears. I really appreciate you echoing that back to me, Monica. I really do. Thank you for hearing that. Everything you just said, I really appreciate. And the only thing I wanted to add to it, like the children of the people that you mentioned, some of whom I know, we adore our parents.
Of course, yes.
And we bow to what they built and what they did and how they lived. And we believe that we too have something to share. And I think that people either expect that I will either dissolve into their light, my parents' light, or fight against it somehow, right? Write the mommy dearest memo, right? And burn it all down. And that's not my experience. I have incredible parents on every level, and I adore them and I respect them. And I love what they did. So it's this third choice between the two, right? I have no intention of burning it down. There's nothing to burn down, in my opinion. They did everything right. And on the other level, I also don't want to dissolve into it. I'm choosing a third choice, which is to revere it and respect it, and revere and respect myself and what I feel I have to say. So I just so appreciate what you said. In answer to your question, what I'm bringing to that stage is the honesty, the transparency of what my challenges have been, and the sharing of how I, as you mentioned, unravel and use my thought power to uplift and feel better, no matter what the challenges are. And as I mentioned earlier, the challenges have not gone away, but they don't need to go away for me to feel better. And that's really my belief. The challenges don't need to go away for you to feel better. We have power inside of us through the management of our thoughts and the tuning of our inner voice. So that's really where I stand.
You're like, and that's where I'm standing.
And that's
with your hands on your hip and
that's
rolling your knee
down.
Feel it. I can feel it. You have traveled the world on your own and with your family. What have been some of those moments that have just taken your breath away? Those magical moments that you're just like, wow, I can't believe I'm here.
Gosh, so many that my mind is being flooded right now. But what I will speak to is that recently, the last several years, and as recently as 10 days ago, I tour with my mother. And I'm gonna make me cry. Those moments on the stage with her, we sing a duet that I wrote for her most recent record. It's called Count on Me. On her record, she sings it alone, but on stage, we sing it together. And that moment of being able to share the stage with her, but really share the lyrics of this song with her, which is about lean on me, rely on me, I'm here for you. I'm singing it to her and she's singing it to me. And it's such a special moment. And so that takes my breath away every time. And I'm very thankful to have these moments with her. That is definitely something, as we get older, if we are blessed to still have our parents, that we don't take these moments for granted this time. So yeah, that's how I'll answer your question, that the time I have with her, the time that we travel together and are in the hotel together and all of those things, but those moments on the stage with her, eye to eye, artist to artist, mother to daughter, and daughter to mother, has been really special.
I know it is. I know it is. I'm over here verklempt.
Yeah.
My mom passed at 13. So I'm like, God, how amazing is
Oh,
that?
yeah.
How
Yeah.
amazing. Oh, let me pull myself together.
No, it's not yeah.
That's beautiful. It's just beautiful because despite that you're on the stage, you're able to have that intimate experience with each other that you will take for the rest of your life.
And I write a lot. A lot of my songs are about the connection between people, that love connection
Mhm.
between people that transcends our bodies and transcends what we know of as life and all of that. And I write about that too a lot. And even a song like this, it's really about the love between the people, even if one of them is no longer physically with us, right? That idea. I write a lot about that because I truly believe that that energy of love, that energy of spirit never
Uh,
dies, never goes anywhere.
it does not.
No, it doesn't.
It
I
transmutes, but it is always there.
100%, 100%.
It is always there. And we can always have a conversation, whether they're with us or not.
Yes,
Now, in
yes.
your work, you have collaborated with your husband, and you have, like you just talked about, you collaborate with your mother. Are there any other artists out there that are in the lane that you're creating that you would love to collaborate with?
Ooh, that's a question. Yeah, being a Gen X girl, I love me some Jill Scott.
Oh, yes.
I love me some Erica, India, Ari. I would love to work with these ladies. I love what they do and how they do it and all of that. Michelle Ndegeocello.
Oh,
Yeah, she's someone. I mean, there are a lot. They're all about in my age range, right? So yeah, I dig what they do. There's so many others. I'm not thinking of all of them, but there are so many.
yes. Well,
Yeah, Liv Warfield,
Miss,
I'd love to work with her. I know you interviewed her. There's so many. Goodness. Yeah.
I call Liv my cousin because she was raised 2 hours away from me in Illinois.
Okay.
I'm like, oh my God, we were raised right down the street from each other. But she's the coolest.
Yeah,
You all would be
agreed.
dynamic together. She's the
Yeah,
coolest.
we don't know each other well, but we dig each other. We've met and several times and we follow each other and all that stuff. I dig her a lot, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's incredible. So, what is on the horizon for Rhonda Ross?
Well, more of what we just talked about, this merging of, I've had the music and the songwriting, and then I've had the thought power stuff and this merging of them. I believe that there is a space. It's almost like a new genre of music, believers go to gospel and you go to jazz for this thing, you go to country and Western for that. Like when you're ready to recognize your own power, you go to this genre of music, right? I don't know what the name of it, self-empowerment music, or it's something. I don't know what the name of it is. But this idea of merging it is what I'm wanting to continue to do. So it starts in June in New York and in Philly. I have performances coming up in London, the UK, and then Europe. And all of that can be found through rhondaross.net. So anyone who wants to know where I'm going to be, all of that's on rhondaross.net. You just have to enter your email address. But the first thing that has to happen for any of this to happen is for people to take what I call the crucial first step. And what the crucial first step is recognizing that there is a space between what happens to us and how we feel about what happens to us. And in that space, live our thoughts about what happens to us, or our inner voice. And everything I do, workshops, music, everything I do, live in that space about talking about the power of our thoughts. And so when people are ready to take that first crucial step, they can find me on rhondaross.net. And yes, that's what I hope to be doing. That's the work right now.
That is beautiful. And this world that we're living in right now, we all need a little special sparkle back in our lives. So I appreciate that you're stepping into that or continuing that journey with your work. And it's a beautiful thing. Before we get out of here, besides plugging into your website, Is there other social media that people can find you in or find your work?
Yes, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I'm on X, I'm on all the things. And they can find me at the Rhonda Ross, TheRhondaRoss on all those platforms, TikTok, all the things.
All the things.
All the things. And so, yeah, they can find me there. But the best way, because I share different things on the different platforms, but the best way to really know what I'm up to, especially performances, especially workshops and courses and all of that, is through rhondaross.net. And specifically, I have, like I've been saying, it's called The Crucial First Step, right? So I have that course on there. It's a mini course on there, but then you become, if you access that course, you become eligible for meetups and with my community and pop-ups and talks on Zoom and all of that. My community, we're very active with all of that stuff. So rhondaross.net is still the best way. But yes, I'm on all the platforms.
Okay, that's amazing. I don't know how you navigate all of this. I really don't. You have a huge ecosystem yourself. And I love that you say you have a community that you're working with, because I think that the wave of all the business futures through community.
Yes.
The way of all of our healing for me personally, has been through community.
Yes.
And so I'm happy to see that you have that already in place.
Yes.
Now, final question. What is your Black girl magic superpower?
My Black girl magic superpower is that I can take myself from feeling bad to feeling better by virtue of by virtue of tuning my own inner voice. I don't need you to do nothing. How about that?
Amazing. Amazing. You've had that Neo moment where you can stop the bullets yourself.
That's right. I don't need you to do nothing. I'm going to be all right.
This conversation has been a treasure, and I am so blessed and grateful that you said yes.
Oh, and I'm so glad to have been asked. And like I said this off air, but I love your podcast. I love everything you're sharing. I love the people you're talking with. It has empowered me. It has taught me. And so I really, really appreciate the work that you're doing.
Well, I am so happy now that you're a Black Women Amplified alumni. You have joined the tribe.
Yes.
And this is your new home. And I definitely want you to come back so we can get deeper into the inner dialogue work that you do.
Thank you. Yes, I would love to.
Because I think it's so important. But just thank you so much to you and your team. It was a beautiful experience working with them, and it's been a beautiful experience talking to you. So I'm forever grateful.
Oh,
so thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank everybody who's listening in Black Women Amplified world. Make sure that you check the show notes and go to blackwomenamplified.com to get more information about the Rhonda Ross. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Black Women Amplified. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to subscribe and log on to blackwomenamplified.com for more information. Keep shining.